It says it's going live. Okay. Me
Oh, actually, the volume's on already, isn't it? So,
Okay, 6:30.
okay. Good evening, members. Welcome to the September meeting of the Finance and General Purposes Committee. If we can start first of all with apologies for absences, Town Clerk. Which one am I asking?
I'm doing the easy bits, and then she's doing tricky bits. Jill's doing tricky bits. Hopefully, yeah. So councillors Breen, councillors Carter ×2, and councillor Angus send their apologies. Yes.
Reasons?
Reasons.
Yes, on that list.
On the list.
That's it.
Travel commitment for councillor Breen. Personal commitment, councillor Carter, P. Carter. Councillor C. Angerson, travel commitment, and Councillor D. Carter is not feeling very well.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 2, declarations of interest. Receive any declarations of disclosable pecuniary interest from members in respect of business to be transacted on the agenda. Do we have any tonight? No? Thank you very much. Moving on to agenda item 3, which is minutes of the Finance and General Purposes Committee meeting, which was held on the 16th of July 2025. Do we have any comments from anybody? No? I have a couple of comments. That's all right. So F&GP 0725-5, Councillor P. Breen advised that the approach of Town Clerk with health and safety queries prior to the meeting. Responses will be shared with the draft minutes for the next meeting. Have we got those?
So yes, they went on the website and they were emailed out to members.
Yeah, that's fine. And then F&GP 0725-8. It was just really around the property manager update, and one of the bullets is the contingency reserves need to provide 3 months operational costs. I just wanted to clarify that because I've heard a number of suggestions what is sensible in terms of reserves, and it isn't just 3 months. So, for example, the most I've heard is 12 months. The size of the council, the complexity of the council are all factors, but I don't think we've ever agreed what we see as a sensible reserve. And our reserve, we have, too strong a word, raided, but we have dipped into it. And I just want to make sure that we as a council are comfortable with whatever the agreement is, be it 3 months or be it a different period. So do we have anything that we can reference?
So they do say, ideally between 6 and 12 months, but there's nothing set in stone. But I mean, I've always worked on the premise that it should be 6 months, in my opinion. I mean, you do have a lot of outgoings here. You've got public work loans and staffing, obviously. I mean, I think you do need to factor that into considerations for the budget setting that's coming up.
Yeah, could I, sorry, I'll finish my past question. So a couple of things that springboard off of that. Could we have a cash amount that equates to, because it's important to know what that really means. The second thing, I recall that the auditor said another period, which might have been 12 months, and that was advisory. It was advisory.
Yes. I mean, that is extreme, in my opinion, especially for the amount of outgoings you have here. I mean, that would be an incredible amount of money.
Yeah, a small parish council should hold 12.
Exactly, but somewhere like
this, they've got a tiny precept.
Exactly.
Okay.
The question you've already asked is what cash sum are we talking about? What is the basis when we say 6 months reserves or 12 months? 12 months reserves. What is the cash basis for that?
So we'd have to go away and obviously speak to the interim RFO
It's not the precept, it's the total budget, presumably.
Yeah, it's your monthly outgoings, so that you are covered. In, if something happened, if I don't know, in the event of
It was just one bit I might get out. Let's get a round figure.
Yeah, we haven't got that at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I think that to calculate very precisely what might be required as contingency would involve going into various contracts and so on, would be too demanding as an exercise. And I do think the rule of thumb is quite good. I seem to remember from previous experience that indeed we were advised that 6 months was the minimum.
Yeah.
And if you can manage a bit more,
Yeah.
that could be helpful. But it is very much up to each individual town council to decide, and I would be happy with 6 months. I think if we could make it.
I think for me, it's just to get the amount, so we've got transparency, understanding what that figure is. Because there were pressures this year. We're only halfway through the year. It just then we're in control rather than making blind decisions, in my opinion. Councillor Miles.
Yeah, I think 6 months is a prudent figure. It's long enough to give you time to make, if you need to, big decisions about contracts, staffing, etc. Any less, and it's
Okay. So leaving that aside, if you can come back to the next meeting, is somebody happy to propose those minutes?
I'll propose them.
Councillor Pennington seconding them, and if we could vote on them.
One abstention.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
So it was Councillor Black second. Yeah.
second.
Sorry, Pennington.
Seconded
Yeah.
them.
Councillor Black proposed. Councillor Pennington seconded.
Seconded.
And one
One
abstention.
abstention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right, moving on to agenda item 4, public participation. 20-minute session set aside for members of the public to make representations at the meeting in respect to the business on the agenda. Do we have anybody who's requested to speak?
No.
No, not very much. Right, agenda item 5, payment schedules. We've got a number of attachments. So if we go through each of them, and I'll invite any comments at all if there are any, and then we can vote on them all at the end if we're comfortable with them all. But first of all, to receive the Sandwich Town Council payment schedule for the end of August, and that's attachment 2A. Any comments from anybody on that one? No. Thank you very much. 5B, to receive the STC bank account reconciled statement for July 2025, and that's attachment 2B. No comments. Thank you. 5C, to receive the STC cash book statement for the end of July 2025. Do we have any comments on that? No, thank you. And finally, 5D, to receive the STC budget variance reports for end of May, June and July. So I'd just like to flag up, it's good to see that they're included, and hopefully we can remain on track in relation to these being presented. And that's attachment 2D. Any comments? No? Is anybody happy to propose all of those as being received? Councillor Reid
Was first.
proposing, Councillor Pennington seconding. Vote.
Yeah, unanimous.
Okay, moving on. Right, this is going to be a challenge for me because of the print size. So, agenda item 6, priorities, terms of reference, status and action log for F&GP Committee reset and update. This is to review and keep in sight the actions for the F&GP Committee, any updates to be discussed and report noted. So I discussed this with Councillor Green before the meeting, before he decided to take a break, and he was happy that we just focused on those that are highlighted as high priorities. So if we can go through those, but obviously there's opportunity to pick any others up if you want. So first of all, if I can squint enough, to manage all the physical assets of STC in a prudent and diligent manner, in particular all statutory compliance in respect of health and safety and insurance. So this had a date of July 2025. It relates to what's been included in the papers today. Are there any other comments on this?
I think it would be useful to have a report, a running report to each meeting,
Yes.
just with an update on progress on each asset.
I understand.
Title and, you know, where we are with the legals and everything else.
So what I've actually done is, as far as on this section, so number 1 is more geared towards the certification side, compliance side. So it was agreed that we were going to start with the Guildhall first, and that, I'm still working on that. There's quite a bit of information on that, so I'm still working on that. And the Guildhall, the template for that will then follow for all the other properties as well. So it's compliance driven, all the certification, health and safety, all the legal side. So it will, on each of the properties, it will be on there. But I'm still working on it, and it still needs, it still needs work.
It's a work in progress.
It still is, and I want to get it finished as soon as possible. But on the legal side, we're working on that separately as well. So this is more compliance driven, making sure that the properties starting here have got everything in place, but also something that someone can grab a file and know, when a certificate started, when it finishes, what the company is doing the work, their contact details, where it's located as well within the building.
I think if we had that to each meeting though, so we can see where
I
the
understand.
gaps are and what
Yes.
what the priorities are.
Yeah.
So for STC, Julian, are you saying that we do have this all now in place?
No, we
There's
don't.
still more to
No.
do. Okay, so the action remains.
Yes.
But with a supplementary request that for each meeting we have
Yes.
the
Understand.
latest view.
Yes. Understand.
Okay.
Yep.
Happy to move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that is health and safety of staff, provision of safe place of work, and training in use of equipment. Do we have an update on that? Because that does feel to me like it's close to completion, if not done, but we've obviously got new staff.
I was going to say, it's all started again now, obviously. We've
Yes.
got new staff on board. There will be training that the new town clerk and the new caretaker will undertake. And in terms of the health and safety, I did give that progress update to Councillor Breen, which has been shared with members, and it's on the website. So that should, those were queries that Councillor Breen specifically raised with me. So I've answered all those queries. So hopefully that will satisfy, that things, are in place.
Yeah.
It's just a case of now, say with new staff coming in, there will be more training needed for the new staff.
Okay, so I think that action should remain open and add to it the fact that we've got
Yeah.
new staff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's on the training side. There's still, so I don't think that's just the training. There's obviously other items. Yeah. So what I've done on that is gone back to the fire risk assessment that was carried out here and was updated, and there are a couple of things that need attention that I'm dealing with at the moment, and also other improvements that we can make here that may not have been on the risk assessment, but that there are items that I will be highlighting in a separate report. I've got everything here. I just need to put it into that format. So improving the safety, fire risk, but also the safety of the staff and hires here as well. So,
Okay. And the third action is to manage all the physical assets of STC in a prudent and diligent manner, devolution, local government reorganisation. So this relates to that. So in terms of progress with Dover District Council, I previously reported that we've gone to them with all that we discussed at STC. They've got a clear view from us, but be very quiet in terms of responding. I don't know, Town Clerk, whether you've got any response, particularly from David.
Not at the moment, no. So, but you've had a meeting today, haven't you, as well?
Yes.
With
So I had a meeting today with the estates manager for DVC, which the new town clerk accompanied me to. I got a sense from that person that they were getting guidelines from within their management structure that actually nothing necessarily will be considered for passing across. Anything that might happen will be around leasing rather than transfer. So that was a sense. Whether that is what's held at the top of her organisation, we do need to validate that now. But it did feel like they're sort of pulling up the drawbridge, but we need to validate that.
And also she was talking in terms of short-term leases, wasn't she? Like 15 to 20 years.
Yeah.
How short is short?
15
years.
Oh,
15 to 20, sorry.
15 to 20.
Yeah.
Beyond my lifetime.
Yes, beyond ours. Yeah. Okay, so that one.
Just answer, is this just typical of Dover, or is this typical across Kent now? Because we seem to get, when we had that other briefing, that some of the districts have been apparently a little bit more flexible. But is this just Dover being Dover?
I can't answer that. I've not seen any recent intelligence and anything, unless anything's come through town clerk discussions.
Nothing tangible.
No.
Not
And
doing
I
it.
haven't seen
Yeah.
anything tangible about anything actually being
No.
transferred elsewhere.
Mm.
So, there may have been, warm shake of hands and cups of coffee to start with. That doesn't mean to say that results in transfer of any assets. Councillor Marie.
Yeah, it's my personal opinion is typical for BBC. They open the door for you to say, "Oh, would you like to do this, and say, "Yeah, great, let's do stuff," and then also there's slams on your face. So that needs to be looked at.
Okay. Well, we'll see. We'll see if they come back. So we are chasing the asset property assets manager in terms of getting a response. But I think you've been to him twice now, haven't you?
Well, I'm waiting for an email response. I've emailed twice, yeah, but I know he's had a lot of leave, so yeah. But, yeah.
Right. Number 4, expenditure programme for repairs and upgrades to assets.
So I need to survey each of the properties.
Still to go.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got the format, and I understand what needs to be done on each of the properties,
Yeah.
and then it will be that will be done. And
So the target date for that was this meeting.
yeah,
Sorry, the end of this month.
yeah.
What's the realistic timescale for you to do that?
I've said at least 6 weeks.
Okay, so we could propose moving it to October, subject to.
So I appreciate obviously with the budget as well. It's important.
And that's what I was going to go on to. This should form part of the budgeting for next year, because we're not really going to start, unless there's an emergency need, start disposing of capital that we've got in our budget at the moment for the programme, I think.
Actually, it would be quicker because the main one is this building.
Yeah.
Actually. So or it would be Tollbridge Fund rather than SPC.
It would be.
So it can be built. Yeah, I want to bring it forward. Definitely.
Yeah.
So I know the format on each of them. So
Are we happy to revise that date to the end of October? Target date? Yeah. Move that to the end of October. And then the final one is relationship between STC and STBF. There's no commentary against this. It is marked down as 31st of December, but actually it's been assigned to the working group. So the working group hasn't met for a short while. So I'm hoping that the chair of that, which is Councillor Breen, will reconvene that meeting.
Yeah.
So could just a reminder be made to Councillor Breen that, meeting should be called at some point soon. Councillor Benson.
No, I'm sorry, I won't comment.
Okay.
Just because it's not here.
Okay, so we're happy to accept those top priority actions in terms of remaining open and the updates that we're doing. Does somebody have to propose that? Councillor Benson and Councillor Wiles is seconded. Voting.
Yeah, all in agreement.
Thank you very much. Agenda item 7, budget template for items proposed for 2026-27. Town clerk, whichever one is this. Are you happy to talk us through what this is?
This
I
one
think
is
we're familiar
definitely-
with it now, but
I was going to say, I mean, you'll see it's identical to what we used last year. Karen and I introduced it last year. I think it worked very well because it does mean that anybody that has a project initiative, it clearly lays out for everybody so they can make informed decisions about whether or not this should go into the budget setting process. So hopefully you'll support this being used again this year.
yes, we've been asked to know that, but Councillor Wiles.
Do we need to do this if it's an existing budget, like the telephone boxes?
That's what we did last year, because I know that there was, I mean, if you wanted to change, the way, but last year, that's how we did it. Everything that you wanted, it wasn't automatically rolled forward. It was, again, because it might be that there isn't another project or initiative that's come forward now that actually you think has more merit and, you might want to.
Yeah, this should be the building blocks that we then use to build the budget from. So it'd be unwise to make any assumptions about something that might exist this year, just appearing again next year. So there's an opportunity to safeguard and make sure you include amounts for discussion, of course.
And new items.
And new items. Yeah.
What's the deadline again?
Yes, well, that was going to be my question. When do we have to respond by?
So basically, I think last year we said middle to the end of October, because it depends on when you want. I mean, if you want the town clerk to collate these for the end of the October meeting for STC, then well, actually, I don't know if you got sorry, you've got scheduled there, because I know you do bi-monthly now, so you're doing September. So I don't know if you'll have to have an extraordinary, I'm sure, at some point. But it's whether or not, because really you want to be in a position where you're doing the final sign off. You know, if you have to do it in December, it's, you know, that's so be it. But ideally, you'd like to do it in November. But of course, it will depend on conversations and, you know, how quickly people can get information that you need. You know, if Julian needs to provide some information, you know, it might be into December, which isn't, you know, a problem. But yeah.
Just making sure we're on the meeting calendar. It should be right at the bottom here. I'm probably not going to find it now. Anyway.
Yeah, so probably end of October, mid-November, somewhere in that.
October the 15th is finance and general purposes. Isn't it?
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to be tight.
That's fine.
October.
So you could wait to the November finance committees, and then, you know,
Would that be a good date to put, like 15th of October is the deadline?
it
and
would,
then,
it would,
and then
it
like,
would.
that, you know,
Yeah.
that because that's a meeting and
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
the papers need to be pulled together for November the 19th.
So that's,
Yep.
yeah, 15th and 10th is the next
Yep.
one.
That's a good idea.
So if we could take a deadline as the 15th of October
Mhm.
to provide any bids
Yeah.
to go into that process.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to propose we note that. Somebody have to second, Councillor Black?
Now, I just add one thing though.
Yeah.
Can we publicise these dates? Obviously, we've got a very limited number of people
Yes,
attending
true.
today, and I really would ask that we make
Yep.
this very, very public.
Yeah.
Two on the council.
Across the whole council.
Yeah,
Across
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole council. Across the whole council.
Sorry, I was going to suggest that we share this again at the full council meeting
Okay.
at the end of September. So, you know, I mean, I know that gives people a shorter period. Yeah, yeah, but we can get an email out to all the councillors. Yeah.
Okay.
send out a budget pro forma on a, by
Yeah.
the way, this is going to be in.
Exactly. Yeah. Committees
Yeah.
are supported.
Sorry, what I would suggest is we don't take it as a report to the full council, because this
No.
is a process,
Mhm.
and we've agreed in this committee
Yep.
that we're happy with the process. But an email to all councillors means that everybody has cover.
Please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Good suggestion.
So, sorry, just to be clear, in that email, we include the budget pro forma
Yeah.
and
The deadline.
15th and for consideration at the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And alerting that it will be. The aim is to discuss it at the.
19th of November.
Yes, Finance and General Purposes Committee on the 19th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 8, public conveniences cleaning updates. I think this could be yours.
I think it is. I think it is mine, actually, yeah. Okay, so with the departure of the agency staff that we had, I've actually managed to secure a company who are providing services, cleaning services for us at the cattle market and at the quay. And it's been going now for about 6 weeks, 7 weeks. And yeah, it's great. Really good. Good level of service. Communication is just really what we need. We know when they're going there. I get live updates. I've got photographs every day. I mean, it's a bit more work from my side, but the results are really superb. So, yeah, I mean, obviously I've prepared a report. Everyone's got, you know, I've obviously got some comparisons in the price of what we were paying when we had the agency and what we're paying now. But it's worked so well that we've expanded this. I know this is obviously STC, but we've expanded the services within the Guildhall as well. So yeah, it's just perfect. It's just really what we were looking for.
So thank you, Julian, and thank you for a brief summary, because actually I think it's incumbent on us as councillors to turn up having read the report, and I've read it, and I'm sure everybody else in the room has. I'd like to say excellent report, very clear, sets out the actual benefit of what we've now got in place versus what we had in terms of financial savings. And of course, your responsibility is for managing the delivery, and you're confident and content with that delivery.
Yes.
So I'm happy to support it. I'll open it up for questions or any observations. Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, the two pie charts there, that's full year cost, is it?
Correct.
And the first pie chart,
Yes.
when did that start from? Because we had a full-time employee, didn't we?
That would have, yeah, that was just before, that was what it would have cost in the year. That was when we had, so that would have been from the beginning of the year when we actually had the agency staff. So they were in this. So they were £600 a week. We were paying agency staff.
What was the cost before that when we had a full-time member?
I haven't got that figure here. So yeah, my figure isn't comparing it to what it was when we had the staff, but we were. Yeah, I haven't got that actual figure. But we're slowly less than it was.
Solely doing the public.
Exactly that. That's why I've stuck to the actual cleaning, not a whole staff analysis. So yeah. So this is purely based on what we were paying for cleaning versus what it is now.
I suppose the question for us is, do the residents of Sandwich feel that 28,000 a year is worth paying for keeping these public conveniences open?
I mean, for me, it's so expensive. When someone first said, what you're actually paying to keep these open, it is very expensive. There's no cheap way of doing it. We're cleaning them during the day, we're locking them at night, it's the weekends, and it's a costly exercise. Yeah, it is a costly exercise.
But if we don't pay for it, nobody else will.
Yeah. But certainly, even though it's costly, in my opinion, we're getting the best value now.
Do we have any record of how well they are used at certain times?
No. No, we don't.
You don't find us sort of.
There's no peak times. I mean, obviously, if there's a function happening, it gets very busy. You can imagine at the weekends.
Yeah.
But no, there's no sort of, there's no time where if we closed it earlier or kept them open later, there's no, it's busy. They're busy all the time, to be frank.
Maybe we could do a head count.
I try.
I'm sure the police will turn up. Councillor Marie.
There used to be a head count. Yeah, so when they had the toilet attendants and it was charged,
right.
to do a count of how many people used it each weekend, each weekday, etc. So they used to have the ladies have a clicker to just count.
Yeah.
It was obviously it's extremely more busy at the festivals and the weekends, but yes, they are used. I see them used. I'm down there, so I see them used quite.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. They are.
Any other comments at all? If not, we've been asked to note
Some notes,
I have a comment. I went for a walk and I checked out the ones down at the quayside and they were really lovely.
Oh,
they were really clean and fresh.
As toilets go.
As toilets go.
That's good to get back.
Well, I just walked in and they were nice.
Yeah. So it says the recommendation is that we continue the current system review at the end of December.
Yeah.
So
do we need to vote on that?
Yes, Councillor Wiles has proposed that.
Yeah.
I'll second Councillor Marie.
Unanimous.
So proposed was second Marie.
Councillor Marie.
And all.
Who proposed it? Sorry.
Who proposed it? Was it
Councillor Wiles?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
Councillor Wiles, yeah.
Okay, and then agenda item 9, we've got a short allotments update. It's
Yes.
brief in detail but clear.
Yes, exactly.
Anything you want to add?
No, only that obviously it's good to see that the number of vacant plots is greatly reduced. We do have another one being relinquished at the end of September, but there is a healthy waiting list. So we've had 10 new plot holders in the last 12 months. And hopefully, Chloe said, before she leaves, she's hoping that all those plots will be let. And you can see we've got 21 on the waiting list in the Sandwich postcode and 9 on the waiting list who are out of the area. So it's good. And the magazine's actually helping with, promoting the allotment sites. So we do get inquiries after the magazine's been out.
Councillor Wiles.
Yeah, I assume this is just for Black Lane allotments.
Yes, this is Black Lane. Yeah.
So I should have declared at the outset that I am an allotment holder there.
Yes,
I
you
do
should.
apologise. But I have noticed that there has been an uptick in activity on that site. It's really encouraging. The plot next to me, they've had groups of people clearing it. Lots of the plots are being cleared and cultivation is happening. So that's a really
Nice, really
Yeah.
good.
sign.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that will be one challenge for the new town clerk in terms of allotments, because it currently sits with the assistant town clerk.
It's encouraging. Thank you.
Yeah. So we're asked to receive and note the reports. Is somebody happy to propose that we note and receive it? Councillor Black and Councillor Pennington.
Councillor Pennington, second.
To vote on it.
I shall abstain.
Oh, yeah. Councillor Wiles, one abstention. Yeah. Everybody else in support.
Now we did have, sorry, and I just realised we did have a not confidential report regards to finance reporting, but I was content that STC has is now in a much better place in terms of reporting.
Yeah.
But we may want to pick it up under
We certainly will.
STBF. So
Okay.
I will defer that to that meeting rather
Okay.
than the short change in the discussion because this meeting having its reports in place. So final agenda item number 10, date and time of the next meeting, 15th of October 2025 at 6:30. Meeting closed at 7 o'clock.
Thank you. Right. So I'm just going to plug my cable in. I don't think it's plugged in. It says the. Sorry, Councillor Marie, would you mind checking for me if the socket behind you is switched on?
Yes.
It's saying I.
It says that light's on.
Oh,
There's
So-
green.
It's not-
Very low down.
it's not. It's not charging. Why is it not charging?
Yeah, the light's on the.
Thank you. Don't know what's going on with my battery. It's not.
Hang on, is that my one? That is.
Ah,
There we go.
that's why.
You've plugged into me.
Thank you. Yeah, otherwise my laptop's going to switch off.
that better?
Perfect. Thank you very much. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So Councillor Black's chairman.
Ready for the next meeting?
Councillor Black.
Right.
Councillor Black. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the South Coleridge Fund Finance Committee that we've had today. And it's now about, it's just after 7, so we'll start the meeting. First of all, welcome everyone, including our new town clerk, Christina, and also any taxpayers who are actually watching as well. First of all, first item, are there any apologies for absence?
As before, Councillor Breen with a travel commitment, Councillor Carter with P. Carter with a personal commitment, Councillor D. Carter is not feeling very well, and Councillor Ungerson has a travel commitment.
Right, thank you. Are there, item 2, are there any declarations of interest? Pecuniary interest specifically? No, thank you. The minutes of the Finance Committee, are there any matters arising from that?
I'd like to propose it accept them.
Thank you, Councillor Tucker. Seconder, please.
Councillor Pennington.
Councillor Pennington, votes please.
Oh, one abstention.
I wasn't here.
Yep.
Thank you. Item 4, public participation. Have we received any requests for public participation? Okay, thank you. Move on to item 5, which is the payment schedules. Are there any particular points that people want to raise? I mean, I'll take them all together at the end. 2A, 2B, 2C, and 2D. So approve the South Storage Fund billboard payment schedules for July, mid-August, and end of August. Are there any matters arising from there? Let's just double check this thing. 5B, corporate fund payment schedules.
No.
Okay. Right, and then we move on to the 5G, which is project achievement. Let me find that, please.
Yeah.
Where's my project achievement? Are there any comments or questions about the project achievement?
I suppose the fact that it's actually got a minus figure for all elements of the investment is, I suppose, slightly worrying. So I wonder if we could just inquire what's the background to that.
Yes, it's certainly disappointing.
Yeah, -8 capital income, sorry, -0.8, -0.7 on income return, so -0.1% in total. So I'm not sure, I can't think of any world events in the last month. Well, sorry, very true. Any exceptional ones that haven't been occurring in the last couple of years.
In the country 24 hours, it wouldn't be that bad.
It's just general uncertainty worldwide.
Markets.
Those Dow Jones and others are still going up, aren't
Yes.
I think it's very, very varied. Some things, markets are doing very well. The American market is doing very well, but in Britain it's not necessarily quite so good. But it is disappointing that
we need to just keep an eye on that.
well, even the year to date is actually not quite as good at 9.1 compared to the comparators. So I do think that is a bit disappointing. It's lower than almost every comparator except 2. So I do think there's continuing questions about Fortitude and their performance.
Can I ask the chair, the review group that's been having conversations about whether we're getting the best value out of Fortitude and also Harris Allday, when could we expect some sort of report to finance committees?
Well, we've had 2 meetings so far, haven't we? But we haven't come to any firm conclusions. Unfortunately, with people's holidays, we've got 2 people away at the moment who are not going to be here until the beginning of October. To have a third meeting to really start all this together is going to take a little bit of time. I would hope that towards the end of October, we would be able to have some better conclusions and some recommendations.
Yeah.
Working.
Thank you.
Working.
Okay.
No, they're just working together for them.
Any other questions on payment schedules, section 5? Right, moving on then. Section 6.
Hang on.
So
So we need to.
are you approving the, yes, sorry.
So we note the court achievement, but the others.
Approve, yeah.
We'll achieve it. Now, proposal for that, please.
I propose that we note
The mayor.
it.
Secondly.
Councillor Miles, I think was first.
We need to also.
Are you, yeah, all unanimous?
Is that all the payments?
Yeah, that's,
Yes.
yeah, all of it.
That's what the whole of section 5.
Is that the whole of section 5 done?
No, because it's separate.
No,
is it?
he's done quarter
one is
first.
noting,
One is the noting, the
The
other
other
one
is
is
actually
to
to
accept.
receive.
Yeah.
But, sorry, can I confirm it will be minuted that we express concern about the.
Yes,
Yes.
I've got that,
I
yeah.
hope so. Yes.
And I would ask, and as I said earlier, is could we actually just contact them and say, is there any specific explanation for this month's performance?
Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I propose 5A and 5B.
This is the
To
approval.
receive it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, happy to support that. So I'm seconding that.
Sorry,
Receive.
So that was Councillor Marie,
Marie,
Councillor Chick, yeah, and then everyone's unanimous.
All agreed.
Unanimous.
That's C.
We've got the note for what?
It's,
5D.
it's me, it's C, but call it D if you like. There isn't a C.
All right. Moving on, this is the significant question about delay for reporting the particularly the public fund finances. Town Clerk, would you be the best person to? I've seen the report, but it doesn't actually tell me a great deal.
Well, I think the bottom line is that obviously that we've got two entities here we're dealing with. So we've got the Town Council and the Tollbridge Fund. And it's always historically been the case when Karen was here that you dealt with the Town Council first because we've got the AGAR deadline of the 30th of June. It's not physically possible for the RFO to do both in tandem by June. It just isn't possible. So it's always been delayed with the Tollbridge Fund. Now, the added complication this year is we had the new finance software that we've been using, but we haven't obviously done year end. And so once Karen had left, we have the interim RFO, and there have been problems with the functionality, I'm told, of the software system. Now, I have sat in on some of the calls with Advantage, and I mean, they are trying to sort of defend their position and say, although it will report for charities, it's not actually geared for doing that. But it was sold to us on the understanding that they knew we had a charity. That was made very clear to them, and they do have other customers that have charities. So I am of the opinion it should be the same principle. It doesn't matter if the charity is larger. So I think there's some software glitches and things that are, have become apparent, and the reporting side of things certainly it's taken some time with working with the development team, Advantage, to get rid of these glitches and get to a point where we can actually get some reports.
Have they got a clear timetable as to when they're going to get all this sorted out?
So we've literally, I've literally pressed the button with the new town clerk today on the agenda for the Tollbridge Fund, which you'll obviously meeting next Monday, and you'll see the budget comparisons. We did manage to get April, May and June. So we've got the first quarter now,
Right.
and the bank reconciliations. So you are in a much better position. You'll get to see them next week. They are actually live and now on the website, and you've had them on an email. But and then obviously we need then just to keep driving this progress and making sure that we get to a point where we've caught up, and then
Stay caught up.
exactly, because it's very important now because of the budget setting. You need to be in a position where you can see
It's critical, yes.
yes, it is critical, exactly. So we've got the first quarter done, which we've managed to produce for publishing today, and that meeting will happen on Monday. So then you'll have an opportunity to look at the reports and make sure you're comfortable with what's been produced. And obviously, if there is anything, you need to raise that because Sophie will be clerking that, and we can raise that with the interim RFO
Okay.
or Advantage direct if we need to.
Well, if it's an issue about the way the software is set up, then we need to take to Advantage, and we need to have something pretty robust, because we have an interim at the moment. That means that we're likely to have some change over the next 12 months, and I would not like to see this repeated. It's going to be someone's going to have to be climbing a learning curve. So I'd really like a very robust set of protocols from them, and to say, well, what else are you going to do to make this work? Because we can't have this repeated.
No. And I'm told that because the onboarding at the beginning wasn't quite done correctly, that's what's caused, this issue. But once we've done, well, the year end has been done now. So that year's been rolled over. And that's why we were in this position where we couldn't, because you cannot put onto the system until the year end's shut down. That's how it works. And it's not peculiar for Advantage, because Rialtus I used in my previous role, and that was exactly the same principle. You had to shut down the year end before you can start the new year. So, there was always going to be a delay, but obviously nobody envisaged that it would be this much of a delay.
Questions? Councillor Murray?
Yeah, it's deeply concerning considering that the council agreed to have Advantage do it, and then they said that the charity is too big for them to run. I just think that's a bit. They sold us an item that the full council agreed to do, but yet they can't fulfil it. How long is the contract left with these guys? I mean, can you think about speaking about? going somewhere else afterwards? Because
Well, I was going to say, Councillor, that's a huge task for somebody because you're switching then from one software to another. And I mean, you'd have to consult with the new town clerk because it'll be a capacity thing. You know, it's a huge, it doesn't happen quickly. And we know how much work Karen, the RFO, had to put in to get this system up and running. I mean, I'm told that, well, you have the reports as well, sorry, I forgot to mention that. So the Mayor asked me to share with you this evening these reports when you made the decision. And I mean, I've been very robust with Advantage and said, you know, this was sold on the understanding that we had the charity, we had the town council, and you assured us you had other customers or clients that did have a charity as well. So, you know, yeah.
the
So
other thing is we've got Maddox coming in soon as well. Will they be going with the paperwork we're going through them as well?
there's no suggestion that they would be going on the same system. That will obviously be a conversation that you'll need to have with the new town clerk and
whoever's clerking Maddox.
exactly.
Unfortunately, the matrix, when we looked at on the matrix, it's not quite so positive about accounts for charity. Produces profit and loss accounts for charity. If we look there, I didn't recall that this was a major discussion. And quite rightly, you've drawn our attention to the fact that we did ask them the questions about how effectively they can deal with charities.
Yes.
It is disappointing, and that's why I really would like some very robust procedures from them and operating practices, so the next person or whoever gets the full-time role is able to hit the ground running with this, because we don't want this all over again.
May I share what the conversation that I had with the interim RFO? I said, well, this, you know, you're telling me it doesn't work, and I have to take that at face value because it's the first conversation that I've had with him about that. He said it doesn't work for charities, so what do we do? You know, and I threw it back at him, and he said that Advantage is a bolt-on system, so you pay for the council stuff, and then you pay for the charity stuff. And the more enterprises you put on it, the more you pay. So what he was saying, basically, if it was him, he would strip off the charity part of it and then buy a very cheap, inexpensive Sage, QuickBooks, something that doesn't need to be AGAR council specific. And then he could run the charities on that, basically, the charity side on that, because he posts from one to the other anyway. I mean, just this.
Yes, so there are transfers that happen. Yeah,
but they're manual anyway.
Yes.
So that running them on two separate items of software wouldn't be an issue because they're manually posted anyway. So you could basically save some money from Advantage by taking the charity element off and then buy something that was more, because it works well for STC, but and buy something that's more charity specific for the charity side of things.
Even if we went down that route, that would take some months to implement, wouldn't it?
Now you lose me.
But there's this climate learning curve, getting it properly installed. So, sorry, Councillor Pennington, you wanted to make a point.
Well, thank you. Yes, I was just a bit surprised by this claim that it was at the installation wasn't properly done.
So the onboarding was blamed for, that wasn't done correctly at the time, which obviously Advantage were tasked. You know, when the setup and the onboarding was happening, they were there to, implicate and make sure that the infrastructure was right at the beginning. So that's what they've told the interim RFO, that some of that onboarding wasn't correct at the time. And obviously they've been using the system for a year, both the Karen and the interim RFO, John, and it isn't until the year end, that you want to come and run the year end. And it was apparent that it wasn't, reporting what it should. So, I didn't have the conversations at the beginning when the onboarding was happening, because obviously Karen was, highly experienced and she was, there's no implications that anyone's done anything wrong. It's certainly nothing, but it's purely with the process that they've undertaken for the onboarding. I don't know whether they missed some information that wasn't put on at the beginning, but that's what's created the problem and, meant that there has to be.
Was our responsibility.
No, Advantage were supposed to be doing the onboarding. So, yeah. And we did pay for the onboarding at the beginning. So, yeah, but that's why the interim RFO has been having conversations with them to say, actually, the issues were caused by the onboarding not being done correctly. It's nothing to do with the year end, really. It's all to do with what happened at the beginning. So, yeah, but I think what we need to do is bring a detailed report once we can have a proper conversation. I know I didn't want to interrupt what the interim RFO is trying to do at the moment. The key thing is, but I think once we get past this stage, my suggestion would be to the new town clerk is to sit down and actually, come up with a report for members so you can see, what the steps were and what happened.
Well, sorry, Councillor Wild, sorry. And then come back to you, sorry.
Yeah, just going back to the report that we looked at in February last year. It does say there that Advantage is not so good at reports, producing reports. So we were warned, I guess.
You were.
And again, their costs were, year one, were almost 3 times as much as Advantage. I think to try and, at this stage, to say we're going to think about switching is reckless. We need to keep working with Advantage and try and get them to produce the right information. And if it means having as Town Clerk suggested, having maybe a smaller separate system, maybe that's what we need to do. But we have to keep working at it.
He very much indicated that it was working really well not really well, but perfectly adequately for the town council.
But not has to be it. Councillor Marie and then Councillor Tudor.
Just quickly, if it's going to help the STC and the RFO regarding removing the charity aspects out of the accounts, the only thing we'd have to do is we have to check the charity commission of what ones we could use. We say Sage and obviously QuickBooks and stuff like that, but we'd obviously have to see what the charity commission say.
The auditors,
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to pick up on the point about using the term software glitches, just to avoid any doubts with any councillors either here or not here about reporting faults, for example, to the software provider. When we say glitches, what do we mean? Do we mean that they are inherent issues with the software and therefore we've raised an incident against the software? Or are we just saying that it's about clunkiness of certain steps? And the supplementary question to that is, if they are inherent faults, I assume that we've reported them as soon as we knew about them and haven't sat on them for time, and they've been reported as we discovered them.
Yes, completely. And it's a combination, if I'm honest, because they've been going backwards and forwards to their development team, and how it works is, if a client approaches them and said, actually, we would like you, to incorporate this in the reporting, is that possible? If they deem that, the development team deem that enough clients will benefit, they will do that work, So I think, the situation here is unique. We've said it so many times. The Tollbridge Fund is, a big charity, but in my opinion, and I'm not the RFO, so I'm not an expert on the finances, but in my opinion, if you've told a software company you operate a charity, they've assured you at the beginning that they have clients that have charities, I don't quite understand why this has been such a problem. But I think that's something that you can, talk about later. I think at the moment, the top priority is focus on the task and get those reports out.
Councillor Watts.
So I'm just looking at the government guidance, because where the income is less than 250,000 a year, according to this, you only have to produce fairly basic accounts. So I don't know whether it might be worth checking.
But the issue is about the transfer. It's the movement of activity between STC and STBF is why it's complicated for us.
Okay. Councillor Brown.
Can I make a suggestion that if they haven't, ask a representative from Advantex come over to us and speak to us regarding the problems we've had? We have Court Studio come over, and we have other people companies that we use to give us reports and stuff, and quick Q&A pre-meeting.
You can suggest it.
Will the meeting be in favour of that?
I think it's a really reasonable suggestion with the caveat that let's get everything properly grounded in terms of reporting first. And so that might mean it might be possible for October.
Yeah.
But it might mean November.
Yeah, that's fine. I just think if instead of speaking to a computer screen or on a phone call, and they'll come here and we actually speak to them and say, look, we're concerned, and then go, right, this is okay, apologise, etc., let's move on.
Thank you for that. Could I come back a step? Is it too late for them to really improve the onboarding?
So that's what they've had to do. They've had to go back.
But is that now complete to the RFO's satisfaction?
Yes,
So
because
that is definitely to our satisfaction, us being a corporate entity, yes?
yes, because the year end is now, it's rolled over. Year end has happened. So that's why we're now in a position where we can, or the RFO can start generating the reports, because he's had to put the information since April onto the system. So that's why we've only got the first quarter.
And this is now in a format that is robust and can be rolled forward all the time. We're not going to have the same sort of challenges again, because we've now got the system fully integrated with what we wanted to do.
It's not quite fully integrated yet, because we've got, I mean, I won't go into lots of details, but I think it's now in a position where, you know, because it was the first year, that's why you had those problems, but it won't be the same next year, because the onboarding's done now. That's finished with. It's rolled over. We've had year end. So this year, you know, it's already got the year in its system. So you won't have the same problems in that respect. Yeah.
Okay, well that's good to know, because I was going to say the first thing is that they have to get this onboarding really working.
That was the initial setup.
Secondly, that they have robust procedures that the RFO, whenever we deal with the RFO, can actually, it's a new person can pick it up and not have a huge learning curve to climb. It's going to be a learning curve because it's a new system.
Exactly.
So the protocols and all the standard operating practices now fully developed.
Yes, I mean, they are responsive. It's just, you know, everything takes time. When they have to go back to the development team, obviously you're waiting for, you know, for that team to do what they need to do before. Yeah, so it's you know, there's steps in the process.
Yes.
So, but they have responded, you know, when.
So we're going to ask them, I think the consensus of this meeting is to ask Quilter Chief to come, not Quilter Chief,
Advantage.
To come and talk to us. I think we'd like to ask them very specific questions about how many other charities they deal with. And I can't see that the size of the charity is an issue. You either deal with charity legislation or you don't.
No, I wouldn't say personally, but
So
I mean,
like
I think that's
information from them,
okay.
please, on that.
Okay.
I think any issue about separating out midstream is going to be quite risky. We've got a lot of new people coming in, and no matter how good they are, their learning curves decline.
Yeah.
And I would be reluctant to do that unless it really is very bad. I don't hear that.
Yeah.
So my view at the moment is let's get a full report from Advantage and explain to us, please, what the problems with the charity are. I mean, and what are the other charities they work with? Councillor Tudor.
So we're talking here about IT, so let's do it logically and sensibly. What we shouldn't do is jump in and say we want a full report from Advantage. What we need to do is complete the financial work that the RFO is doing now. That's a given. Get that done.
Yes.
The next stage should be for the RFO then to give us an appraisal report, because I'm still not clear about when we say glitches, do we mean that we found faults with the system which have resulted in the need for incidents to be raised against the system and responded to within their SLA, or alternatively, have we identified requirements that we need of the system to support our charity that they've gone away and worked up it from the development team? That we need to be very clear. So the RFO should be saying there were inherent faults. You can't just say, and I don't mean him, but you just can't glibly say the software isn't fit for purpose. You have to be very specific when you talk about IT.
Absolutely.
Did we find 4 faults? Did we raise incidents and they have been fixed? Or did we identify requirements that we need delivering and they existed, but they had to go away and make sure that we had those included in our delivery item as a package? So that's how we should do it.
Yeah.
Focus on delivery, get the reports right, and ask for the report, and then we go to Vantage.
So what would be a realistic timescale for this?
Well, I think you'd need to give the RFO at least another 2 to 3 weeks, I think. So I don't know if it'd be possible to do something for the next committee meeting. That might be a bit, I think that'd be a bit too, so I think maybe November.
I'd like to suggest that the chair, because it is STBF finances, where it sits as an issue, gives that breathing space, liaises with the finance officer and come up with a timetable that
I'm certainly good with that. I think that if we aim then for a full report by November, before the November meeting, and so that we can ask them Vantage to come talk to us and say, well, what are your answers to these points? Where are you going on this? And let's concentrate on the next meeting to make sure that we've got as much working that we can do under our present system.
Yeah.
And I would suggest, unless the meeting feels otherwise, that we defer any consideration of splitting out the system until much further down the track, and certainly for a few months, because we need to know what they can and what they can't do. And that will then inform us as to whether we need to hive off this system or not. Is that happy? And are you happy with putting a minute to that effect?
Oh, yeah. So reports up to date, then an appraisal report from the RFO for November. When we've got that appraisal report, do we then ask Vantage, or do we want them along in November?
Well, if we can get the report before the November meeting, from the appraisal report before the November meeting, to at least have a good look at it, and then whether we have an extraordinary meeting to decide what we want to do further, or whether it's just myself and the RFO and yourself to say, okay, what do we want to do? But I would think that we'd want to have them in November.
Yes.
Answering specific questions. Councillor Pennington.
Yes, just one comment. When we say full report, it doesn't need to be a long report.
No.
I think it just concentrates on what needs to be fixed.
That's the job, basically, yes. Okay. Have we?
Okay. So should I give the RFO, IRFO, a report deadline of the end of October?
Yes.
Which would give him time to get us all up to date.
Yes.
And roll a month, and then.
And might I suggest that the three of us meet, the RFO, town clerk, and myself before that report is finally published, just to make sure that we've covered all the bases.
Okay.
Sorry?
Councillor Green?
Yes, could invite Councillor Green if you'd like to come along. Yes. Okay. Right. Moving on then to the next item, which is budget template.
Yeah.
Have we covered this at the previous meeting? Is they back to the same thing?
I propose we accept this.
Second that.
The mayor, and the second. You're right. Back on my minutes. Okay. You're right.
For
Votes?
Finance, yeah.
Everyone votes for it?
Oh, sorry. So it was
8.
Okay.
Sorry, can I comment?
unanimous.
I hope that last year proposals will include some reflection of what their expected results are. I didn't actually see that flicking through, but it was mentioned last year.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's no narrative in the application.
Sorry. Are you talking about the budget template?
I think so, sorry. Is it covered?
So, Sorry, are we talking
What
about the
number
budget?
are we
Are
on?
we still talking about the budget template?
Well, I think we are.
We haven't finalised it, we just said, are we going to follow what we agreed at the previous meeting?
Yeah, I think you've voted on that, haven't you?
Yes.
I thought we had.
Yeah,
Yes.
you have. Yeah. That's all right. Councillor Billington was.
Hang on a sec.
You're right.
Muddled. I'm sorry, everybody. We're on 6. We've just done 6. Have we received and approved all those various variances?
There, that's not the correct.
Yeah, we did that.
We've done that. So we performance of quilter investments. That's
Yeah.
we talked about that. And the budget template. That's what we're on number 8.
Yes.
Yeah. And who proposed?
Using agenda.
Did we?
Who proposed the template?
Councillor Wiles.
Councillor Wiles, thank you.
Seconded.
And the mayor. That's right. The mayor second. Yeah, number 8.
So now it's
Yeah.
item 9.
Yeah, 8 and 9. So energy efficiency.
Do we have this? I don't think.
Haven't we already done that one?
No, we haven't already done that one.
Okay, so
Please.
yeah, so energy, obviously, just to give an update, you know, the jobs that we're performing, you can see in here now, it's much lighter than it was before.
Yes.
And we're making obviously already, you know, savings on that. We've got to fit the installation to the pipework, and the final job is that we then need to insulate the loft space. This work is going to be taking place over the next 4 or 5 weeks. I've got a new part-time caretaker on board, and he'll, you know, we'll be performing the work ourselves, what was agreed, keep the costs down. And yeah, that's it. Oh, just one thing I would say on my update. When I originally estimated the annual savings for the electric, it came up at £180.
Yes.
I've looked at the data. I mean, I can only go by the figures I was given. I looked again, and good news is we're actually going to save more.
Yes, I like
Yeah, we're going to save more money.
that.
And although the flip side of that was the reason why was that I was given a lower cost of how much we were actually paying for electric and gas. So I had to revise that, but we will be saving more money on that side, just purely for the lighting itself. And say the other work will be completed soon. Obviously ready for the winter.
Okay. Councillor Wells?
It's very encouraging. The increased saving, is that based on meter readings or?
No, that's based on what. So we took what we were paying before. Yeah. So how much we're taking how much we've actually used in unit unit numbers and multiplied it. But then when I looked at it again, and actually the figure was incorrect that I was given. So that's why we're actually going to be saving more. We're going to be saving more money on just on the electric side, and everything else. Yeah, we've got you know, they're going to be savings. The building, as you go up, you know, once you live upstairs, there's hardly any insulation at all. It's
Yes.
going to make a huge difference. Most importantly, is obviously the winter, but also in the summer, it's going to keep it cooler.
I like the idea of sheets wool if it's
Yes.
traditional.
sheet.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Getting them off the sheet.
It's not flammable, is it?
No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. It can be, you know, it can be more expensive. There is one where you have a mix, so it's a mix between sheep's wool and, you know, other recycled material. So I'm costing out at the moment. We wouldn't have enough in the budget to do that, obviously, the whole lot, but I'm going to stick to the older part of the building.
It's more important.
It is, certainly is, yeah. And certainly this is an area that can be sort of with damp and condensation. Sheep's wool is best to use because it still keeps its, you know, the quality, but its performance. So that's what I would do. So the older part, we would go with sheep's wool, and the rest will be laid in, you know, about 300 to 400 mil. So it's going to make a hell of a difference.
Can I just ask a question about sheep's wool?
Yes.
In an older building, once you get the infestation of moths, sheep's wool is not good news.
Well, the reports I've seen actually say that the sheep's wool is good in older buildings. So that's what I've actually seen.
Well, English
compared-
Heritage were commenting that sheep's wool, and if you've got a building which has had a lot of sheep's wool insulation, it can be a bit of a problem once you've got moths. And this is a much older building, it's more likely to have moths.
Doesn't it have lanolin? You know, it's got oil, natural oils in it.
But even so,
It can be treated, wall can be treated, so that's a possibility in terms of mitigating.
Because I
risks.
haven't actually purchased it yet, I will go back on that
Please
point.
check.
You are right,
Yeah.
you're right, that, I mean, that's love.
They do.
Yeah. They can be treated, the wall can be
Yeah.
treated.
Yeah.
Surely it'll be treated because it has to be within fire safety standards as well, anyway. So.
Yes. Okay, well, so
Yeah.
to that caveat.
Yes.
Are there any other questions people have got?
No.
Right,
We
thank you
received-
for the report, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, so very brief,
And
because
it's
I'll
some good
obviously,
news.
yeah, and I'll obviously do a report with all the photographs and everything else and
Excellent.
with the sheet.
I propose we receive a note of report.
Yeah, seconded by
Chuka.
All in
Seconded by
favour?
councillor Chu.
Chuka, yeah. Unanimous.
Okay, thank you. The next item, 10, which is the Empire Cinema.
Yes,
Again, Julian, if you can.
yes, yeah, give you a quick update on the Empire Cinema in sort of, 4 different topics, as it were. So update on the works, the new fire alarm system has all been completed. It's installed. And I spoke today with the alarm company, and they have confirmed that the tenant has paid for the monitoring system that was part of the part of our agreement. So the monitoring system, that if there was a fire, it rings an external.
An external centre.
Yeah, so that's all been done.
Excellent.
Everything is up and running. They sent we paid an upfront payment. They've sent us the invoice for the work. I've got to just go in. I want to go into the property, which I was trying to do this afternoon. I'm just going to check there, and then once we've made the payment, the final payment, they will then send all the certification. So on that side, it's done. The fire doors have been upgraded. There's a couple of doors that we've just got to finish off that are not the main ones. So that needs to be done. Where I'm struggling is the ventilation dampers. So that's the ventilation system. But unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have plans, we don't have section drawings, we don't have design drawings. So having conversations with any suppliers or contractors about the system that's in there, we just can't move forwards without that information. And the problem is to get that information, or to get all the drawings, the measured survey, section drawings, mechanical and electrical drawings, you're probably looking at 5,000 or 6,000 before you've started. Yeah. So I have had a meeting. I've had a meeting with a company there who do a lot of their own design work. It's ongoing. I will get it. I will, have this finalised. And yeah, I don't really what to add to that, apart from the fact that it needs to, it does need to be done. But it's coming up with the actual solution,
And there's a thorough search has been undertaken, so I know various documents from various kinds have been discovered over the past few months. But there's absolutely nothing we can find about the design of the dampers.
No, there's not. There's one plan that was from 1990, I think. They were just the flat drawings, but they were not even the section drawings. There's nothing there. I've met a company there, and we've gone through the building, and I can work out where it's, where the ventilation is going. And the good news is, it's not like an air conditioning system where it's venting out onto a passageway where people are walking through. So on that side, it isn't, it's not dramatic. What I have done is gone back to the company, the FRA company, the Fire Risk Assessment Company, and said, okay, you've produced your report, you've told us that we're going to need some dampers. What do we need to be looking at? And I'm waiting for them to come back to me on that. I'm also looking, and I've looked through the British standards that they've quoted as well. So what I'm hoping for is that the system that we can put in sits underneath the vent. So it'd be like sitting under here, and the moment it reaches a certain temperature, it triggers. And that means that you're not having to dig through all the ventilation and messing around. So
essentially prevent a draft from being continued?
It stops the fire going up like a
Yeah.
chimney. Yeah.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Same thing.
And obviously, we've also got the system where it goes from the back of the cinema into what we call the secret room.
Yeah.
So we've got to be able to make sure that anything happens, that's blocked. That's blocked off.
Councillor, did you want to ask a question at this point?
Yeah, just to clarify that the work you've outlined here, this is all the responsibility of the lessee.
The ventilation certainly is. Yes. We agreed on the other items on the basis that he was to deal with the ventilation.
Yeah.
The reason I got involved is that if I don't get involved with it, I need to know that it's been done to the correct level. But yes, it certainly is. Yeah.
Thank you. EPC?
Oops. So can I just carry on the works, if that's okay as well, just quickly. So the emergency lighting, that's obviously all been checked now and that's been certified. And he has undertaken some work. There was some old work here that was that's done, but I've looked back at the work. There's guttering that was needed to be repaired along the side elevation. That's been done now. So that work's been undone. Of course, there's a lot of work needs to be done, of course, in an old building. But a lot of the major, well, I would say the major items now have been dealt with.
Okay. EPC?
Yes, the EPC, as you know, I had to get an EPC carried out, and at the moment it's in a band D. It's the lower end of the band D, so it's virtually into a band E. So at the moment it's okay, but obviously the regulations are changing. Energy efficiency has got to be improved on properties. So the assessor that came round, I said, right, can you go through it, do an assessment of exactly what work would be, if we did this, what would we actually achieve? And, you can do a lot of work and still stay within a D because it was at the lower end of the D. But so to achieve a C, we would need to do a new heating system for the ground floor. At the moment, it says gas fires. So we need a gas central heating system and insulate the loft. That takes us up to a C. So, but I say that's really, that's where we're going to need to be at. Now they're saying that we need to be at least it's going to be a C in April 2027, which is going to come around pretty quick. I think once we've done those improvements, there would be a good case then if it did then need to go to a B, that we can show we've done everything that we could do to get to that, and eventually you've got to draw the line. What's interesting in doing small things that you would actually think, like doing the windows, new windows, you'd think double glazed windows, that would make a difference. But because they're not wide windows, it doesn't actually make a huge amount of difference. So what I'm saying is that, we've got to do it at some point. We're obviously going to be, we're environmental responsible. This is what we're saying, that obviously we are, and there's also a commercial gain there. Because if you look at properties with the better EPC, higher EPC, that are more efficient, will command a higher rental, and they will certainly command a higher price. So, we've got to look at it as being it should be something that we're looking at as a benefit.
Okay, but we're no idea of costs at the moment.
No.
Okay, so that'll need to come back now.
It certainly will.
Is this our responsibility? This is our responsibility.
It is.
Yeah.
It is our responsibility, yeah.
Okay. Any questions about UPC? Thank you.
Yes, I was just going to say, in terms of the costs, it will need to be found from within the STBF fund. So ideally, my suggestion is that we should be looking at building this into next year's budgeting round.
Yes.
It's got till April 2027, so it gives capacity to do that. And it does present a potential risk that the STBF fund, we may have to go through the same cycle as we did last year and say, actually, it's money to be invested in the assets as opposed to anything else. Because the assets are the primary reason for the fund.
I'm about to say they are the primary reason.
Yes.
Although that may not be understood everywhere.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the property manager's talking about a rent review, and I know we haven't had a rent review for some decades.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
But quite frankly, the lessee, I don't think, would be in a position to pay the increased rent.
No, I wasn't actually talking about I have been talking about review there, as you know, in the past. I was talking about generally speaking, a property with a high as an EBC will command a higher rental.
So in part, it then depends on the timescale that you're looking at.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any further questions on EPC?
No.
No. But then the next one, then the legal update.
Yes. That's it. Yeah. So, Jill Gray and I, we had a meeting at Mole and Mole. We took a big box of files, or big box documents with us, and we've gone through it, and they've now been instructed to undertake the legal work to get it transferred out of DDC's name into our name.
Yes.
It's quite complex. It is fairly complex, I would say.
Yes.
But they know what they're doing. They know what way it's going to be done. And we've got some more documents. I think there's another document they asked for, an original.
Yes.
But what we found, what we've given them is enough now that they can deal with that aspect. I haven't put it on here, but I would also mention that we're looking at I won't go into too much detail, but we're looking at a covenant on there as well to look to adjust or remove a covenant or potentially indemnify against it. But I haven't mentioned it. I won't go into detail at this point. That's okay. But we are dealing with the legal aspect. And once we get all that done, it's watertight then. Property.
Literally watertight.
I wouldn't go that far.
Any questions about that? I have one question, which is, are the costs in line with what we budgeted? For the
Yes.
vehicles?
Yeah, slightly less actually.
Slightly less.
Yeah,
Well,
they would less, yeah.
Great.
But see, they give a figure, and then of course we gave them enough information.
Yeah.
You know, it was something that if you go prepared, we did go prepared.
I'm sure.
It's a lot quicker, and so our time that was spent there. So yeah, we're looking at a saving there, hopefully. But let's see. But we certainly gave them what they were looking for, information wise.
Okay, thank you. And then the last item really, which is the launch of the Empire Cinema Club.
Yes,
This is more for information.
it is for
Because
information.
It's entirely within.
It's
the
not
Desi-
our club. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not something that that the Tollbridge Fund are doing, but we can still support. Obviously, we can support it. So as we know, when the chair and I and Jill attended a meeting with him, he seemed fairly sort of upbeat of what we could look at doing. And we've been talking about perhaps with some of the hires that we have, if we've got a double booking, that we could, they can go there. And then he started talking about a cinema club, sort of along the lines of the one in Faversham. So I put some things together, sent it to him, and pushed back on a couple of bits. But we actually, we agreed at what it could look like.
Right.
So that's where we're at, and it's launching 31st of October. So
That's good news.
Yeah.
As a painter.
Yeah. I have been involved in a monthly showing of some classic films very much along these lines, which was actually organised by my church, but it was a very open event. And we've been getting about 20 people along. It was in the lounge.
Yes.
Same time.
Yeah.
I think the pilot work is there.
Yeah.
I take it that we would still be able to use the cinema at a different time.
Oh yes. Yeah. This is an addition. This is looking at something open it up.
If it can contribute to improving the lounge.
Well, this is it. I mean, this is the this is the
first
whole point.
time we used it, we had so many complaints about the smell of damp. It was slightly embarrassing.
Yes.
It is. Yes. The artist doesn't help. Councillor Buss.
Yeah, I welcome this. Just a couple of questions and a couple of points, if I may.
Yes.
Where you talk about staff, that's the cinema staff.
That's correct.
Yeah, and would this be in addition to the current classic films that are held?
Yes, this is an addition of this is the last Friday of the month, a separate.
So they're every month, roughly.
So this will be the last Friday of the month,
Okay.
and what we're looking then to do is, what he's looking to do, is then it'll be talking to people. So they have a chat after the film, get together, and then look at what films are going to be next. And the whole idea, I think, is to reach a stage at the end of the pilot to get a real sense of, can this work? Can this actually work?
So all the promotion and everything will be with the cinema.
It will be.
Just, we had the open days at the weekend, and on Sunday afternoon we had 150 people visiting.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Turnout, real interest in the cinema.
Yes.
People, visitors, and residents all thought it was an amazing building, and it is a really precious asset. That we have
Yes,
to
it is.
cherish and look after.
Yes.
But I just thought it's useful to read something from a previous Empire Cinema newsletter.
Yeah.
The Sandwich Film Club. The first performance was given on Thursday, May the 24th. The object of the club is to show unusual and specialised films, most of which could not be shown at normal cinema performances, either because they're not commercial or because they've not been given certificates by the British Board of Film Censors. The next performance of the club will be on Thursday, June the 21st at 10:45 p.m. Finishing at about 1 a.m. Application forms for membership can be obtained from the pay box at the Empire. The programme for June the 21st is the Private Property American and More Deadly Than the Male British, and that is from June 1962. So there's quite a long list.
What kind of cinema club is this again?
I'll see if I can find that film for the November.
There's a long history, but I have to say, a year later, there's a letter from the Borough Surveyor, who was the manager of the cinema, because the Sandwich Borough Council owned the cinema at that time. He says it's to the Kinematography Renter Society Limited. You'll recall that early in the year it was decided by the Borough Council to hold special Wednesday programmes. Ideally, these programmes took place weekly, but in view of the lack of support and the loss sustained, it was decided they should take place once a month. In spite of this, the audience was still low, and at the end of May, it was decided to discontinue this completely. So I hope we're not going down the same
Repeating history.
It's a great development, and if it can make better use of the lounge, then
I think this is it.
good.
This is it. And I think with the 150 people that you had, I think it just shows you that there is, an appetite for it. And I think for everyone, at the end of the 6 months, it opens up a lot more.
I've been a couple of times.
Can I move this on, because
Of course.
this is not for us, this is for them.
Yes.
We've got two recommendations here. If there are no other questions, can we look at two recommendations? You're first of all recommending that West carry out to bring EPC rating to band C with obtained quantity. Anyone want to propose that? Yes. Okay, seconded. Thank you. Vote. Thank you.
Unanimous.
And then second recommendation that we evaluate the long-term prospects of the NPAS in the end of the 6-month trial, and therefore an SDBF in April 2026. Colin, you're proposing?
Yeah, I'll propose.
You propose that second, please? Yeah.
Councillor Tuker. Are you abstaining? Yeah. One abstention.
Okay. Right, thank you. Next item, report about the hub and the section.
Yes. Okay.
Right. Please.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Jeff. So, December last year, I prepared a report. I put it to, I said here, sorry, SCBF committee. It actually went to the trustee, and that was, sorry. Yeah. So I'm looking at the one that I'm doing for next week on here. It's the same. Yeah, I'm ahead of the game.
Oh,
Yeah.
you want that one?
Yeah. I think everyone would agree it's such a good idea that we just go ahead. So there were the two options. Yeah, I've realised the mistake on this. The two options. So option one was that we were going to let the hub out to hirers, and I estimated £8,000 a year, but we weren't able to use it for our own meetings or other events. And the second option was a hybrid model. I've always liked hybrid model, and that was to use the hub still for meetings or any other functions, and obviously in addition to that, we would look to do pop-up events. So the trustee agreed to the second option, and I'd just like to provide you with an update. So, so the update here, obviously, it was underused space before. We only achieved there was £240 before in hire fees for a 6-month period back in the 2024. It still remains popular for meetings, so we're still using it for meetings as well. I advised that option two, we would achieve in the region of £6,000 per annum. And what we actually have achieved for 8 months, so the 1st of January to the 31st of August, 8 months, we've got receipts for 4,160, and that is the equivalent of 6,240 per annum. Okay, so it's working. It's working really well. We're getting a lot of interest from people who are, small businesses or individuals who want to hire space without getting involved in a long lease. It's just what I said it would do. It's done. This pop-ups, it is pop-ups. Yeah, it's pop-up events. And what I've done, I've taken the income and said, we've got someone that does sort of beauty in there. DDC have hired it, a little private event. We now have Wellness Wednesday, which is, someone in there. I'm just trying to think about that. Sorry, and retail as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's working really well. Very pleased with it. It's more than bringing in an income. It brings in a profit, but we're also helping small businesses, small individuals, who don't want to be committed to a long lease. So on that basis, it's worked well. I've provided the costs. I've taken the annual cost of the building here and divided it by the square footage of the whole building, multiplied it by the square footage of that, of that room. I've provided everything here. It's easy to run. It's a painless operation, really. They come in, rent it, pay the money, and they go.
Okay. Can I ask to stop on there? Any questions about the hub?
No. I'd like to propose that we continue with option two, which is the hybrid model.
Yes.
Second that.
Councillor, second.
Yes.
Unanimous.
And then just on the sanctum, because there was one thing with the hub. When option two was selected, I always had that feeling that we could get a conflict. If I started renting it at the level I said I would, are we then going to have a lot of meetings and they were going to clash? So I decided, I had a room that was sitting there, it was covered. It was in such a mess. I decided I'd do that room, and then we can use that for small, so the councillors can use it for any small meetings. And it's worked really well. I know a number of you have used that room. It's good for us, so we can use it on occasions. And now actually it started to generate interest from people that want to hire it. I hired it the other day when I saw Councillor Wiles. I was just taking some money off someone. But yeah, so yes, that is a room that is, that it's working. I think all of this has just highlighted one thing, is that we do have an asset here. If we play it right, we can do a lot here. We can do a lot. And I've proved that, and now I want to take these and look where else that we can, I don't want to say replicate that same model, but look where else we can make improvements to increase the income that can come in. So all I'm asking for recommendations is we continue, obviously, to have with the hub, and also just note what I'm doing with the sanctum. Please use it if you'd like to use it. And when I report back, I will then look at that from more of a commercial, avenue.
Any questions about the sanctum?
Yes, it's not just the sanctum, I suppose, elsewhere, but I think we should try and publicise workspace in Sandwich there is no workspace. If somebody wants to have their own meeting, non-council, so
This is what it's still doing. Yes.
and that's the Sanctum would be ideal for that. But somebody comes in and does their work at a charge. So there's nothing I've seen promoting that outwards.
It hasn't. It's been a lot of people who come in.
What I'm saying is there's definitely a gap in the market in Sandwich Town. That there is nowhere that if somebody wants to do professional work, other than sitting in a coffee shop, which some people do enjoy doing, but not everybody does.
So what I will be doing is for the next magazine, I will be featuring the Sanctum, and now I'll be doing the hub. I wanted to wait for everyone to agree, but the hub was
good Wi-Fi when it works.
Yeah.
A warm building.
Yeah.
Space, quiet.
So I actually have a therapist that is using it at the moment just once a week, where he needs people, but to a place where someone can come in, sit down, work, and go. So we will be promoting it for the magazine.
Yeah.
And we have some rates for that. We can quote them.
Yes, £10 an hour.
Okay. Right. Any other questions on Sanctum? Right. The recommendation is to note only. Can I vote? Proposer?
Mayor,
Seconder?
Councillor Pennington.
Vote.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unanimous.
I'd also like to congratulate you on the amount of work that's gone into this report, and it's very clear, and also the effort that you put in to make sure that both of them are becoming much more successful in the Guildford. We need to use this building.
Yes.
I think it's also noting the achievements. It's not just about reporting.
Exactly.
Achievements that actually you're delivering against what you anticipated would be done.
Yeah.
So that's,
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Right. Last item on the agenda is date and time of next meeting, 15th of October, following the SDC F&GP Committee in the council chamber.
Okay.
Jill, can I ask, when will you be at this next meeting?
I won't.
You are.
I
Thank
won't.
you very much. I'd like to thank you very much indeed for all the hard work you put into this committee. It can be a bit chaotic at times, but thank you very much indeed. And we look forward to working closely with you on this as well.
I should be very sad when my helper, when I'm not just like making,
Thank you very
moment
much.
it's light touch. Thank you very much. Okay. Who needs a crown, eh?
Meeting closed, is that councillor Black?
Yeah, we're now closed.
What time? 8.
Stream.